for having me. And when I was out of the country for a few years in my training, and the founder of that organization, whenever he came up to talk, he always brought a bag, a made in India bag, and he had books. And I've learned from him that always bring some books. And his catchphrase was this: if you want to be a leader, you must be a reader. Educate or suffocate. That's what, and I've never forgot him saying that. I'm going to show you some books that I find them very good. And Resiliency in Action. It's an excellent. So when Dr. Chow asked me to do this, I then also said towards the end, we are going to show that we have a problem, but we also want to show a solution. This particular book, Resiliency in Action, is worth buying because this particular lady, Nan Henderson, very current, and the whole idea is if your child has got no resilience to say no, then they will be in trouble. So this is a book you need. I'll go through them quickly. Right. This is another good one. Counseling Adolescents. It's a good book to have. There's a good stuff here. Easy reading with case studies and how to manage the adolescents. All right. Old book, but very good. Raising teenagers hassle-free. It's a decent book and it's easy reading. Now this one is closer to home. Navigating the cyber world with your child, and this is from Singapore. So which means the demographics are quite similar to us, written very well on how to deal with this. As Dr. Chow has clearly mentioned earlier, that addiction is evolving or evolved from weed. We are going into the digital stuff. Okay, so we must be very mindful. We all started with weed, but currently the problem is like gaming and internet. So we must be very mindful of that. And this is a good one, and it comes from Singapore. We all are parents, and the hurting parent. And how do you help the parents when they are hurting? And it's very, the tire hits the road when we talk about all of these things. But you only know the pain when you come home one day and you find there is cigarette smell in your daughter or your son's room, and he's only 13 years old. At that point, you'll find that all that we knew about the statistics and all, wow, now I got this in the home, what do I do? So this is dealing with the hurting parent. Okay, right, I'm not trying to kill time, but I just... The neuroscience of pornographic addiction. Very new, came out 2 years ago. The last 2 chapters are excellent on how the brain grows roots from the main neurotransmitter. And excellent, I've used it with patients now. I say this to you without saying the name. A girl wrote to me 3 days ago, wants to do internship. She wanted to do internship. So I said, okay, well, I'll arrange it for you. It's somebody else. Then she says, I'm in recovery myself. And she's 22 years old. So I asked her on email, you have to tell me, what are you recovering from? She tells me, I started watching porn when I was 11 years old. Oh, this is a girl. I started watching porn when I was 11 years old. Until I was 15. She's 22 now, and for the first time, she says she has stopped watching for only 3 months. So I told her, then I cannot put you as an intern in the recovery area because you must be clean 3, 5, 7 if you're going to work with this group. Now that's an 11-year-old girl who started watching porn. Okay, now this is an excellent one. Bringing up boys is different from bringing up girls. So if you wanted to read a good book on how to bring up your boy, this is from Dr. James Dobson. Focus on the family, one of the best. All right? And this is just a little booklet, raising kids who don't smoke. Raising kids who don't smoke. Okay, good. So please be at liberty afterward to screenshot what you want, and you can buy all of them nowadays. Okay. Now that's my name. By the way, my name is Chris Sekar, and most of you, I think, I'm familiar with you, and you're familiar with me. The next one, I'm going to move it very quickly, and that's it. Okay, that's me when I was 17 years old. This one was when I was in Pantai, and this picture was taken through Dr. Chow when they were putting new pictures for the Pantai team. And I think this picture is my favorite. So probably on my tombstone, this is the picture I would probably want. All right, now let's move this. Star newspaper, all these came up in the last 2 weeks. So I have taken that, and I've got my good friend here. I've invited here today is Sesha. Sesha, would you kindly stand up? Sesha is a good friend of mine, and he helped me with all of this, and I'll tell you more later, but I'm very honored that he joined me today. Okay, now, we got here, don't let our children's future go up in smoke. Parents worry, but children of the government delisted nicotine. Vape regulation must include penalizing adults. GEG. Now, I am no politician, right? I think I can be a stand-up comedian. I think I probably can do that. So, but this is all very recent, very current. Now, generational end game. To me, the pun on this is this. What games are we playing? So you heard of Hunger Games and all. But to me, is what games are we playing with our children? And my turn up here is I am not a doctor. I'm not a medicine man. I'm a recovery person. So I'm coming from the point of recovery. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. We can differ. Now, 93% of drug users started with cigarette. But that doesn't mean those who smoke cigarette become drug users. So I called up Pengase and I spoke to my good friend Ajit. I said, Ajit, what are the statistics on this? He said, Chief, 93% of drug users started with cigarette. Please take that very seriously, that cigarette can be the pathway or the gateway to the next thing. Because after you start cigarette, it's like, it's not giving me the buzz. Maybe I should just start some weed. Now, you know that book that came out recently, Chasing the Scream. There's a book called Chasing the Scream. It's an excellent book, right? And the guy is asking this, why is that after 100 years, suddenly we have legalized marijuana? Why? Why after 100 years we have legalized marijuana? And his argument is this. Better the government sell marijuana than to allow the drug dealers to sell, because the government can make money also. So they legalized it, and this is what this guy is saying, right? Harris, his name is Harris. He says this, it was legalized because you can make more money and kill off the drug dealers. Okay, point noted. So I'll go to the next one. Right. Why teens, adolescents start smoking? Light up, factors to consider. Right. Parents or significant others are smokers. Now, that's not going to put you on a guilt trip. But on the other hand, yes, I want you to have a guilt trip. You know why? Because you are the first significant other. If you light up, what you are saying to the child is, if my parents who are successful, if they can light up, and be successful. Therefore, I can write up and be successful too. It's called social learning theory. All right. Now, identifying with peers. There is a point here, but I'm very careful to say on peers. You know why? If you ask my mother how I got messed up, she will say, you know, the front house, that lady's son, Richard, he's the one who spoiled my son. But if you ask Richard's mother will say, you know, the house in front, Chris Sekar, that is the boy who spoiled my son. So it doesn't work like that, okay, right? So peer pressure it's there, but it's not the only reason. Okay, next, rebel to show independence. Okay, some they say it's a rebellion. It's like I want to be my own man. But the better word that's used now is called individuating. You'll come across it later. Individuating. When I want to be an individual. Now, I go to church and I take that seriously. There's a family with two boys, and both are studying at Taylor's. And the younger fella has a mop. Literally, he has a huge mop, and I wonder what is he hiding? I mean, the parents are very well-to-do, very educated, but this guy is a huge mop. So to them, he's being rebellious. I say, no, he's not rebellious. I say, he is just individuating. But as psychologists, we are going to look at that and say, what is he covering? But I don't want to go there and assess everybody that I come across. So I've got to be very, very careful that my job doesn't become a hazard. Okay? I mean, I share this very gently. My wife is outside. I make it very clear when I go home, I debrief in the car. When I enter the house, I am a husband to her. I am not a therapist. Because the wife will tell you, darling, you are not my therapist. You are my husband. So please debrief before you come in. Okay, so please, psychiatrists and all, debrief before you go in and start doing an assessment of your children and the wife. Okay? If mama is not happy, nobody is happy. Oh, sorry, what happened here? Okay, right. So everyone is smoking. What's the big deal? This is one of the things they will tell you. Everybody, okay, everybody is smoking. What's the big deal? Tobacco industry, the marketing strategy is your teen. You don't want to mess with the tobacco industry. They are very powerful, and your teen is their target group. I mean, you remember years ago, there was an advertisement, Salem Cool Country. What is so cool about the cigarette? But the advertisement of Salem Cool Country, very nice packet. That's how they market it. Okay. Now earlier, let's take a few shots at the surgeons. I still work at Gleneagles for a particular doctor, and sometimes when I go and collect my car, I see the surgeon at the security counter, security guard downstairs, taking a cigarette off him and quickly lighting. As I'm passing them, I will jokingly say, "You mean it's become like this? That you came from the 4th floor surgery, you came down just to get your quick fix and run up again, operation successful, patient dead." Why doctor went for a smoke? But that's I'm not saying it's nothing wrong on being a security guard, but cigarettes can bring you so low, you wonder, how did I go there and borrow a cigarette and have a quick 3 puffs and run back? Terrible. Terrible. Okay, next. Experiment, not mature to know the consequences. This age group does not know the consequences of their decision. All right, because maturity level is not there to understand this. Nicotine is just a buzz, no real intoxication. Now, the nicotine buzz is really about 3 to 5 seconds. That is why after you take 1 puff, you need another puff, because it doesn't stay. It's in opioids. The intoxication is long, it's short. Nicotine is short acting and not long acting. Okay, but notice this, right? This is what we do. I've been a smoker before, and by the grace of God, I'm clean this September for 43 years, which means I am PA. totally abstinent. Now, that's a challenge for a lot of people. So we can differ, but that's fine. Okay, I believe in tapering off. So when patients see me and they say, I want my son off cigarette, the boy says, okay, but can we cut down from 3 packets to 2 packets? Okay, that's where you are. From 2 packets to what, 1 packet? Fine. Then come down to 6 sticks. I tell you, the problem is the last stick. The last stick is the hardest to give up. So there are some, like you heard that when we were at the Dorset last year, Dr. J.M. said this, and he's not here today. He said very clearly, I made a decision not to smoke, and that's it, finished. And I've taken that same view. Made a decision, that's it. But some say, no, like to taper. You know what? I would say if that's where the patient is, that's where he's. And the likes of Dr. Siva and me, we all know the idea of the 6 stages of change. Where is the person for change? And you work on that point, all right? So experimenting, not knowing. Nicotine is just the buzz, no real intoxication. It's very short acting. That is why you notice when you light a cigarette, when you light, the first one is, right? Within the first 5 puffs, the fix is taken care. The nicotine fix is over. The 6th one onwards, you're doing this. You're tapping the cigarette. You're tapping the cigarette. The ash is falling off because the buzz is over. But if you tell a cigarette smoker, you need to throw the cigarette after the 5th puff, as to come to terms that you don't need the whole thing. Ayo, leave. Cigarette now, 1 stick, 1 ringgit now. How to throw away the cigarette? Because our time it was cheap. 6 sticks was only for 50 cents. No, 3 5s and B&H and Dunhill and all. But now 1 cigarette can be 1 ringgit 10 cents. Oh, you want to throw that? Motivational for change, right? Right? Done this role model. It was Dr. James Dobson. Okay. Now, all these slides that are here, please be at liberty to take them. No problem. And by the way, all these slides are freshly baked. None of these slides are recycled. So I'm also doing it the first time because I understand that cigarette is tough because it is over the counter, easily accessible, right? Whereas hard drugs are under the counter, so they are a bit more difficult. But this is hard because you can get it over the counter. You go to a mama shop, you can buy a cigarette. So it's tough, it's very challenging. So it's freshly baked, so you can have this, right? So role model, caught, not taught, came from Dr. James Dobson, who said this: children are not taught, children are caught. They catch what they see from us as adults. Because at that age group, their cognition is not developed to process. But rather, if it's okay for my uncle, it should be okay for me. So Dr. James Dobson, brilliant pediatrician, who said this from Focus on the Family, who said the children are not taught. Children are caught. They catch what we do. So be very mindful of that. Okay, educate them early. Educate them early when they are receptive. Don't wait for 13, 14. Start them early when they are around 10. You know why? At that age group, they trust you so much, they will absorb from you early. When you come to early adolescence, 12, 13, right? When they say the blood is hot, you know what? The blood is hot. That is when they say, yes, sir, true. So please catch them when they are 10 and 11 and sit them and walk them through. All right? False glamorization. A few days ago, somebody sent me a nice one. I mean, Dr. Shan and I, we are all on the same chat group, Lasalians. We are Lasalian. And somebody sent this. This girl is looking across the table and you got Sean Connery with his cigarette. And this girl is asking him, and what's your name, sir? And Sean Connery said, my name is Velu, Tanga Velu. I mean, that is, my name is Bond, James Bond. They played on it. Okay? But the glamorization of this to hold a cigarette is now a happening thing. Okay, but we want to portray it is so uncool to smoke. Okay, I did a talk for Sunway before. So I asked everybody is above 18 years old, huh? Because I want to feel safe. Okay, everybody is above 18. So I asked the audience in this school, how many of you are dating? Okay, they went up. So I asked the guys and the girl, you're all dolled up for the dinner, looking nice dinner, right? And all this guy does at the end of it is giving you a kiss, right? Your lipstick is gone. And guess what? You just smelled an ashtray. So I asked the guys, you smell like an ashtray. Is it fair to kiss your girlfriend who's got lovely, lipstick and a nice dinner, and she's now smelling like a dustbin? Is that socially fair? So I try to come from that point of view that it is so uncool to kiss an ashtray. Okay, so so I told the girls, the next time your boyfriend is with you, please have an ashtray and say, this is how you smell. Terrible smell. Okay, no, I'm saying that I'm a former smoker. I mean, for me, when we had money, it was Lucky Strike, Camel, or Marlboro. When we had money. When we had no money, there only 3-5 Cent Express. Okay, open communication, where in all relationships, where there is no communication, there is no relationship. All right? Know his friends. Please don't tell early adolescents, your friends are bad. Please don't do that. Because to them is, that's my friend. Don't moralize them. But you say, hey, can I get to know your friends? Cut it out like that. Okay? Then take a non-judgmental approach. Non-judgmental approach. Okay? That means don't make remarks you are going to be a failure. You're surely going to die. No need to say like that to this group. Okay, hear their views. Sorry. Hear their views. Okay, do not interrogate. Don't be accusative. Basically, don't interrogate them. Be patient. Be patient. It's going to take a while. It's not going to happen tomorrow morning. Okay? Don't interrupt. Let them speak. Let them speak. Finish their sentence. And that is why I think it's not an oxymoron to say that when do we listen? When do we hear? Yeah, I'm listening, but are you hearing? So as therapists, we are told we need to be hearing rather than just listening. Okay, and I think it was Carl Rogers, who said this, how to repeat what they have said in the language that they understand. So when they have said something, repeat it in such a way they feel, Dad understands, Mom understands. So that's how we do in hearing. Don't shout, you won't get anywhere. Don't shout, you won't get anywhere. They will just go into the room, slam the door shut. No need to shout. Okay, and then don't threaten. Don't threaten, because all this is like you are putting pressure on me. At this age group, no need to threaten. I will cut your pocket money. You know what? They can go to school and somebody's got cigarette. They don't need to buy. Especially if your kids are, if I may be very careful here, especially if your children are going to the international school, aren't they? You don't want to. I still today, because I live in Taraz and I've done work with the international schools. I think the education, okay, but I'm so afraid your children come back like the international school kids. That is what you want to watch for. They might get a British education or an American education, but now when they come home, hey, Pops, what's the matter? Since when did you call your dad Pops? How did that happen? International school. Everybody is first name basis. So just be very mindful. Or sincerely, I rather have my grandchildren go to Singapore to study than anywhere else in the world. Singapore, great place to study. Yeah. Okay, I mean, forget about Europe and all. I mean, this is a fact. You can for a university in South Africa, there's actually a condom machine in the toilet. Seriously, there's a condom machine in the toilet. You know what the argument is? They are doing it anyway. Okay. If you cannot handle the time with your kid, gently walk away, right? Gently walk away and say, we will continue this later. Right. I've done individuating, dependence to independence, right? But we prefer the word called interdependence. Okay, we prefer the word. Now, once again here, call me difficult. I'm very careful with the matsales these days, especially America. I've taken a swing. I've taken a swing. Now, in America, how did you do it? I did it my way, independence. You know, but the Asian student is this. Very nice. I did this because my uncle supported me. My mother's brother was there for me. You know, my teacher was there for me. So the Asian kid is the only one who doesn't say, I did it my way. The Asian kid, he incorporates the community around and say, I'm very thankful that my father passed away. My mother's brother took care of us. That kind of thing. But we are talking here interdependence, especially when you are bawa payung. Under 18 is bawa payung. Under my roof, under my rules. Okay? They say, when you're under my roof, you're under my rules. If you're not living under my roof, then I got less control. So that's the rule of thumb. I have 2 boys. That's what we did. Okay? Now, experimentation, response, reaction to new situations. They have no experience when they experiment to a new situation. Like some of us, when we first linked up, right, we had a headache. Some of us first linked up had a massive cough because we were not ready for it. But guess what? After a while, the second and third, it became easier. So we got no experience here. Okay? Susceptible to excessive and risk-taking. Okay? And you will find that term there. Teens is I'm indestructible and I'm invincible. I know what I'm doing. The other guys are idiots. But I am not like that. And now we've got this terrible thing, which is also good, called Dr. Google. Anything, go to Dr. Google and find out. That's where they go, right? But the teens have this, it won't happen to me. I know what I'm doing. That invincible thing. Let's be mindful of that. Okay, and then the two, okay, this one is called in-betweeners. I got an in-betweener. It's like this, right? They're walking here, then there's a shed, there's a gully, and they walk again. It is this gully in the teens that they need a lot of help because they're coming here, they drop like this, they go up and they go away. This is between 13 to 17. This is the area which they're very, very vulnerable. So it's called in-betweeners. Right now, the two pressures, parental pressure. Now, parental pressure is expectation. Now, which parent doesn't want their child to do better than them? The parental expectation. Now, I've got a situation. This is not a case. This is real. Wow, 12 o'clock already. This is real. I've got a couple I know, four boys. Father is got a small electrical aircon shop. The mother is really a tiger mom, seriously. The eldest son is a doctor now, just came back from Russia a year ago, is a doctor in HUKM. The second guy works for Pricewaterhouse. The third guy, the third guy is a lawyer. He's working towards to be a law. And the youngest fellow saw me recently, we are friends. He told me, I said, what are you doing now? He said, my mom has said, you must get to one of the forces, either PDRM, Air Force, Navy, or the Army. So he says, so I'm doing law to enter one of that as an inspector. So I said, how old are you? He said, uncle, I'm 19. I said, you mean you can't decide? Huh? The mom has made the decision. And guess what? All four of them are really exactly where the mom wants them. That's the tiger mom, I guess. All right. So parental expectation, then the school peer pressure, because the time of identity. Who am I? What kind of music I would listen? What kind of clothes I wear? I mean, if ever you came those days wearing a torn pair of jeans, your grandmother will sew it back for you. But yeah, grandmother is going to sew it back for you. But now wearing the torn jeans is a happening thing. Huh? It costs more to buy a torn jeans than a proper jeans. What's happened? Huh?
Why one you want for you?
You know, I mean, I've spoken to my wife a few times. Oh, my grandmother would have sewn it back. So this is, but please, please, we don't want them to walk around half naked. But if they're wearing torn jeans, all let it be, let it be. This is just identity growing up. Don't worry about it. But my problem is tattoos. Okay, this is where I'm concerned. Now, I'm going to take a few minutes of your time. Now, the first time my eldest son came back, he had a tattoo on his arm. He was standard 6 UPSR, right? So his mother said, hey, have you seen or not? I said, seen what? You seen his arm? So I looked at it, and so I asked him, what's up? Then he told me, what do you mean, what's up? So it was a tattoo. Then he told me, see, Dad, it's a stick-on. Okay, it was a stick-on. On top of that, it was a Ninja Turtle. At that time, it was Ninja Turtle. So I told him, look, stick on, I'm fine. But you can never use anything demonic or anything sexual. Even if it's a sticker, under my roof, under my rules. Cannot. So I made it very clear. That was the first time we had that, and since then didn't bother. So what about hearing? All this growing up. I'll tell you a nice one. They did this guy, right, who had suddenly had a hearing. So his friends asked him, hey, this guy is a married professional. So the guys asked him, hey, you got a hearing? Then the guy said, yeah. Since when? He said, my wife found the hearing in the car. So now you know the theory of the hearing of, we say midlifing lah, but the other side is, now you know that, huh? Okay, so please don't keep the hearing in the car. Okay, moral of the story. Okay, being proactive, not react. What we are saying is always respond and don't react. Because when you respond to your child, you have thought through before you spoke up. When you react, you shoot from the hip and you become Billy the Kid. Cannot do that. All right? So always be proactive. It's a therapy by itself. Is you respond to him and don't react to him. Okay? Okay, be mindful of adolescent developments. I'll come later to a different slide. Adolescent development needs. Leaving the adolescent, merely saying, I see your view. I don't agree, but I see your view. Okay? Know their language. Okay, this is important. I work with people. That means I must be on the ball. If not, they will tell me, what this uncle can tell me. Actually, one guy said that to me. I was wondering what this uncle will tell me. Okay, so please, if you're working with young people, know their language. So one day, my eldest son was with us, and we went to buy some Christmas stuff for him. So at a particular time, he said, okay, Dad, got to bounce. What is got to bounce? I didn't know. Then he said, got to go. Oh, that's the term they use when they want to, it's time to go, got to bounce. So quickly, I learned, and my dear friend Sesha here, if I don't know, I will ask him. Recently, I was watching football. I'm a Manchester United fan. He's a gunner, Arsenal. So that's when we part ways. Otherwise, we are good. All right? So recently, one team got trashed 5-1. And the celebration was out of hand live, on EPL. And the commentator was saying, that was OTT. What is OTT? Over the top. Thank you. Okay, so all this kind of word, you must be on the ball when you're working with your young people. I mean, I never knew what is LOL. You know, now got ROLF, OMG. Oh my God. Okay, so but please, write it down in a notebook and be ready that your young person knows that is on the ball. So and I make effort to take notes on this. I don't know. I call the what does this mean? You'll tell me this. Okay, good. Respect the adolescent disclosure process. When they say something to you and they say, Dad, I'm telling you, don't tell mommy. Please, when that kind of disclosure is made, you want to keep it. Because my concern for telling mommy is this. Oh, you can tell your daddy, you can't tell me who carried you 9.5 months. Not your daddy, finish. So please keep disclosure in counseling is confidentiality, is called sacred. Somebody is making a disclosure in a sacred manner, and you want to, unless they are underage, in Malaysia, disclosure is not 100%. But if it's between you and your child, please be very mindful of that. Okay, explore solutions. There is more than one way. I don't like this expression, but they say there's more than one way to skin the rabbit. But because me and my wife, we love animals, so we got dogs, cat, bird, fish, and all in the house. And we see a cat hit by a car on the road. Heartbreaking. We got 5 cats in the kitchen. 1 African grey parrot given to us. We got a small pond with 2 koi inside. And we got 2 dogs, and they sleep with us. So look at the different solutions. There's more than one view to resolve it. Okay, got to run. Okay, validate, respect his her views. Okay, now notice. I want to emphasize the word respect. I am not saying accept his views. But at this stage, we respect your view, but I don't have to accept it. Right? Now, mutual disclosure. Sometimes when they disclose, then I also disclose that. Kind of mutual disclosure. Now, I come from the Indian community. It's a bushfire. It's a bushfire. You just got to hear one thing, the whole village would know, oh, the Alwar's son, the youngest fella, that guy, I'm the youngest. He's a riot man. The whole village knows. From Johor to Perlis, it will know tomorrow morning. Okay. So on this mutual disclosure, so I told my boys one day. I said them both my boys. I said, okay, I'm going to tell you this. Okay. So I said, Dad is a recovering addict. I did weed when I was 12. Moved on. Did heroin, and this is any question. They say, yeah, why? So I told them, you better hear it from me, because I got enough relatives who will say, you know what your father did? The whole village knows your father. So I said, better hear it from me. So if anybody asks them, they will tell, yeah. My dad told that to us some time ago, and he's pretty cool about it. So I did the disclosure with my voice on my own. I didn't want them to hear. I don't know about the Chinese community or the Punjabi community. All right, but I can tell you in the Indian community, it's what you call breaking news, is it? Right. Use praise when relevant. Use praise when something good is done. Say, you just said that. Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. Okay. Contracting with your team. Work something out and say, okay, how long do you think this will take place, and when can we work on something? Right? Parents are building resilience. Now coming to the solution, building resilience for your adolescent journey. Drive to parents will always be driven to protect. We are not ashamed of that. We will protect our children. Okay, help them to navigate. Okay, there will be storms, there will be rough seas, and then the one of the most difficult thing is when your 15-year-old daughter decides, right, to wear mommy's makeup and go out. And you go there, oh no, man. Which fella is going to smile at her now? Suddenly she's using mommy's heels and mommy's lipstick. Habis lah you. Huh? Okay, so help them to navigate this area, how to make decisions and choices. For me, this one is easy. Now, to make decisions and choices is in the life of your life direction. What do you want to be? The decision and choices must be made in the light of what do you want to be. If he says this, then if you want to get here, how does this help you to get here? That's how I work it. Okay. Now, a lot of these are not directive and they are processed. Throw it out and then ask, could you talk to me and tell me how are you looking at it? So it's process questions. Let them come up. You only interject if and when, because they are finding the answers for themselves, right? With character and strengths. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Now, really, if I was in the education field, right, I immediately, after Form 5, I would have gone into the restaurant. My ambition was to be a chef. Yes, I spent 1 year in a restaurant and I'm a fairly good cook. You can ask my dear wife. Can. But then I got into drugs and that was the end of it. I was selling weed from Ampang Park. You know Ampang Park, the complex? There's a restaurant there called Palung Dulang, upstairs Sunglam, same Ipoh owner, Hainanese restaurant. I was the weed seller for the whole complex. So all the waitresses and all of them will come to the kitchen and look for me. Where is the kelingan? All the chefs were Chinese from Ipoh. I'm the only Indian guy. They don't call me Piling Koi lah. They say kelingan, Indian boy. So my chef de pate came up to me and said, "Hey, apa tu buat?" I said, "Apa saya buat? Apa sehari ini orang semua cari lu hari-hari?" So my chef was furious, but because I was good, I loved the kitchen, right? But it was getting trouble. One day the police turned up. I ran and ran for 10 years. 10 years. If not, I can tell you, I would have made it to Shangri-La. I would have. Right? And I'm not being boastful because my ambition was to be a chef. How to bounce back? Huh? Okay? Nelson Mandela said this, it is not when you fall down, it is when you rise up. Don't wallow in the mud. Okay? Now, can we bounce up from that? You took a slip, can we bounce up? Right. Now, this is also a word I learned, no bubble wrap. Huh? That means nowadays you do JNT and FedEx and all, there's a bubble wrap. There's no bubble wrap. There's no supernatural, but just ordinary homemade magic. Now, I can't understand this. You know, when your child cuts the finger, the moment mommy gives a kiss, okay, ready, why? Why? Daddy gives a kiss, hey, pin. Mommy give a kiss, only finish. Better still, if doctor says you're okay, fine, ready. Why? There's some magic there. It's not supernatural, the ordinary magic. Okay? Clear life direction, they've done unconditional love. Unconditional love is no matter what you do, we love you 110%. We don't love you because of your grades. We love you because of who you are. That's unconditional love. And this is not a good joke to make, but I'll say, you put the wife in the room for 3 hours and put the dog in the room for 3 hours. You open the door and let them out. Who do you think will wag the tail? And who do you think will bark? Bad joke. Please don't. Okay. You see, the dog, after 3 hours, will come out, wag the tail like nothing happened. Why, next time you do that, you sleep on the couch. Okay, that's a bad joke. Okay, empowering parents is got your back covered. But there's another nice word for this. They got your 6 o'clock. That's the term they use. No more, I got your back covered. So they've got your 6 o'clock. That means your back was covered. No matter what, they've got your 6 o'clock. right? High expectations here is not in the idea of how your grades are. We want high expectations of your character, that you are kind, you are forgiving, you look out for others. They want high expectation in character. How many more minutes?
Time is up already.
Yeah, okay. Let me go to this last one here. This one, no worries. Okay, this one. Theories to consider. Albert Bandura, for those of us who are psychiatrists and psychologists, social learning theory, very important. Huh? Secondly, Eric Erikson, 8 stages of social development. Find out which group your child is, and they will tell you if you have your coherence is this, incoherence is this. So Eric Erikson is very good. James Dobson, Focus on the Family, is an excellent guy to read. All of his books have made it to the White House. And Aaron Beck, Cognitive, if CBT is not criminal breach of trust, CBT is cognitive behavior therapy, which means faulty thinking equals faulty emotions. Faulty emotions equals faulty behavior. Okay, so this one is good to have, eclectic. To have this will keep you safe. Okay, this is a resiliency wheel. I think they're very good. Okay, and it's from the lady. I've acknowledged her, Nan Henderson. Excellent. The primary coloring there is provide care and support. That's the primary one. So you can afterwards look at the book and take some shots of it.